On today's episode of Cinema Confidential, it is my pleasure to sit down and have a chat with a very lovely and a very powerful woman in this business. In show business, a woman who knows how things are done up close and personal and who has a lot of experience with a lot of, I would think, difficult situations, but now she's gonna tell us all about it. My guest today, Alexia Melocchi. Hi!
Hi! Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
So much fun. Welcome to Hollywood.
Thank you. I'm staying in Hollywood for a few weeks, but you've been here pretty much your whole life.
Yeah.
How did it all begin? When did you come here? Why did you come here?
Well, I came here when I was, I think, 14 years old or 15 years old, and I came with my mom. And I went to high school here, and I grew up when I was like a teenager or like a young girl in Italy, and I was like, anything that I knew about LA was like Dynasty, Chips, Happy Days, and somehow I always had like the dream that I never even thought about being in the movies, but I always had the dream I wanted to be in LA, and I wanted to go to prom. We moved here with nothing, like literally like $5,000 in like our pocket. My mom was getting a divorce. We came here, she had some business plans, and so, I went into the high school experience, and then as I was a senior in high school, I was asked to be a translator, an interpreter for an Italian distributor. That was like my big entry in Hollywood. It's just being a translator, and I started going to movie screenings with him, and negotiating like deals, like how he would buy the films for Italy, independent films, and that's kind of like how I started. So it wasn't something I chose, but I always loved movies since I was a kid, and I think that's something that Adama and I have in common as all my friends. You love movies too.
Yes.
So.
Why do you speak 5 languages? And what are the other languages? Because you have some mixed blood.
I'm kind of like I'm like the United Nations. So my mother is Greek, but she's the daughter of a Russian prince. So who also was a very famous concert pianist and art collector in Greece. And then I went to private schools in Italy, and then I learned French, and then I started learning Spanish when I was here. So that's kind of like how it all started. And then the German, my grandmother is Swiss German, so I kind of had to learn a little bit of German.
Tell me more, how did you decide to create, and how long did it take you to actually create your company?
I started translating and interpreting, and then I went into becoming a representative for international distributors. So, as soon as I got out of high school, I did my first Cannes Film Festival when I was in high school. I was like finishing up, and again, one of my clients from Greece said, "I'll pay for your ticket and experience a Cannes Film Festival."
That's awesome, at the age of 19.
Magical. It was just like, imagine, a year and a half later, when I was about 20 years old, my buyers, they said to me, "Why don't you start your own company? Because all the producers in Hollywood, and then you also know us who buy movies from producers. Why don't you start a company that can be like a bridge and make sure that those films are seen and bought by us?" So I started this company with my mother, who is my business partner. We're actually probably maybe the only one, or at least probably the only mother and daughter team in Hollywood.
Does it work?
It works amazing. I mean, my mother is amazing. She's my best friend. She is, I would say the shark, but not in a bad way, of the company. She plays bad cop, I play good cop. She comes from the finance world. Obviously she's a princess. She's worked in international circles and diplomatic circles. So that helped a lot, But when we started, we had no financing, like no bank gave us money when we started our own company. It was just our clients who basically were buying the movies that we were selling, and basically that's how we started making a living. I found myself with my mom and my business partner Alexandra, being more of a producer than just a person selling movies, because we were helping getting the money for the projects of those filmmakers that we were in business with. We were advising on casting, to see if there were like actors that would work better for like international markets. So we're doing all the work of like a producer without being a producer. And we kind of got tired of that, So like in around 94, I said, you know what? There's so much talent overseas, and I want to be that woman, or I want to be that company that discovers the fresh voices of filmmakers and best-selling authors and writers from overseas and allow them to be like a bridge to, you know, to get like the wings to fly in Hollywood.
Yeah.
2.5 Tesla. Now, anything over that is like a microwave. It would cause the brain to swell from too much radiation.
Can I have your attention, please? As you know, the board of directors here at St. Mark's Hospital is proud to announce Scantech's new MRI.
Yeah, I think your hair is coming in even prettier than it was before.
I don't want to be a blonde.
Don't you know gentlemen prefer blondes?
9 months ago, she was diagnosed and treated for cancer of the kidney. What Dr. O'Brien hopes to determine from this MRI scan is whether or not the cancer is spread to any other parts of the body.
The first movie that I did was back in 2004, and it was called The Drone Virus. And it was a small independent movie that I decided to put together because there was an author who wrote a book based on, obviously, the film. And I had signed on this very exciting young director who was from the Pasadena College of Design. And he had shown me his short, and I thought he was very, very talented. And so I decided to put together the book together with the script and the director, and we found some money from doctors and dentists, and because it was like a medical thriller. And so that's kind of like how we made our first movie. And I remember, because we had so little money to make it back in the day, I think when you're an independent producer, you have to learn everything. And when you do, you can be very proud of yourself, because once you make your big studio movie, then you will know how to run, you know, $100 million movie, because you knew how to make a movie for,
Of course.
$400,000.
Yeah, of course, I
you
can
know?
imagine that. We live now in a time where women are encouraged to finally be empowered and to you know, to find their place, to get the salaries that they deserve, and all of that. But I'm sure that over the years in this hard business, you've had a lot of, how do I put it, bullshit.
Yeah.
because you are a woman, you were not born in the States.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, so many things
Yeah.
that, you know, you don't belong, or at least they think you don't belong there. How did you have to fight with that? Do you remember like an experience that was really memorable for you?
Yeah, I mean, somehow I think that they feel that they're women, they're very good in like public relations. So as long as you like
Yeah.
you look pretty and you're good at like networking and talking to people at parties and, you know, maybe like championing some director or whatever. But when you're supposed to be like on a set, you know, as a woman producer, it's a little bit of a different perception. So that was difficult for me, because when I was selling movies, they really didn't care that I was a woman. You know, it was just about buying and selling films, and as long as the film was good, actually that was pretty easy to do. But when I transitioned to sort of being a producer and championing a film and making the calls and saying, I really believe in this, you know, help me make this, it was very, very difficult, because it is true. I mean, there is a big gap between, you know, being a man who goes out and drinks with other men.
It's a male-dominated business, and it has been.
You know, and they feel like, you know, I feel like they're almost like well, with a man I can go drinking, I can go partying, I can do certain things. You have to go to the parties, you have to network, and if, you know, I'm not that kind of woman who's just gonna go every night to try to like meet people, you know, to help me with my project. I'll be very selective. So it is hard. And I remember in one of the films that I did, I'm not gonna say the name, but that I did a few years ago, you know, I had championed this Italian directors. It was her first movie here, and I had gone into business with a producer who had bigger credits than me, you know, and we were friends and we knew each other for a long time, and so I thought it was going to be great, you know, great environment. It turned out to be very challenging, because I was representing the director, so I was trying to like do the best thing and the best job for them as their manager, but I was also the producer, because I had put together everything, the script, the filmmakers. I used some of my actor relationships to get the actors to come on board. And then I found myself being on set, and then basically whenever I was intervening on a shot, they were saying, well, kind of like, go back to your corner, I've got this, you know. And I was afraid to speak up at the time, because I said, if I speak up right now, then maybe they'll just stop the movie, and then my directors will be fired, and then they're gonna go home, and then everything is going to, go to hell. So I didn't stand up for myself, and I think I regret it a little bit, because I was trying to be more of a diplomat than anything else. And then I found out from the crew members later that they saw me 6 months later, like, Alexia, why weren't you on set every day? Why weren't you? Because sometimes I would go, but I would go for 3-4 hours. I didn't want to ruffle feathers. And they said every time you were there, we knew that you were there, and we were peaceful and we were content. And I think that's something that women are very good at.
Have you ever had days that you were so frustrated with this business that you were like, I'm done?
Yeah, I had quite a few. I had quite a few moments, but you know what? When I have those moments, I just go and see a film, and I remember the struggle that these people went through when they made the movie, because now it's never easy. Nobody will say, oh, that was the easiest thing I ever did.
Yeah, I just woke up this morning and decided to do
my movie happened, and I was like, hey, I'm starring in a film, or I'm directing my first movie. So when you go do that, you have to celebrate the successes of others, and I think that's the most important thing and that's what I love about America, is that everybody, most people, even in Hollywood, they truly celebrate your success when you have it. If you have good, real friends, they celebrate your success.
Big storms bring big treasure.
How much money are we talking about here?
Tens of millions.
I really think we can do this. We do this just this one time, and it's over.
I'm hopefully looking to make this movie called Galleon, which is a big action adventure about underwater treasure. So, I'm excited to be doing a lot of underwater filming and finding out the wildlife. So that would be the mainstream films, but I also love to do great storytelling, great epic kind of movies that are Last of the Mohicans or Legends of the Fall, true stories. So I can't even say that I have a dream project, because that would mean that I'll have to tell you about 15 of them. So, and I want to make them all. And I have another 15 I want to do next, and TV series and unscripted. But anything, people say, what do you choose? Winning an Oscar or having a movie that opens $200 million in the box office? I would probably say getting an Oscar. If you look at my screen, the screenshot of my phone, it has an Oscar picture on it, because I can remember, because that's something I always wanted for myself, is to win an Oscar. To me, that's more important than having a movie that makes a lot of money, because that's, again, it translates with quality work.
That's amazing and wonderful, and I wish it for you.
Thank you, and I hope you get one too.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll do it together.
Maybe, there we go.
Yeah.